This episode is dedicated to Chris, my beautiful god sis. Welcome to Joy and Olives. This is Jasmine bringing you episode 6. And right now I'm literally chilling on a beautiful green lawn at my university. It's almost sunset. It's beautiful. So if you hear buses going by, that's just the natural school ambiance. Hopefully that helps you envision where I'm at right now. And yep, I'm sitting under a tree feeling really, really relaxed. Anyways, I've been reflecting about my 2 years of being in Singapore. I just crossed the 2-year mark on Saturday, and I really can't believe it. Before I moved here, I had no idea how I would get here, how I would get a job, how my mom and I would get housing, because, you know, housing in Singapore can be pretty expensive. Literally nothing was figured out. But I knew that if Jesus was my shepherd, leading a little lost sheep like me, then everything would be okay. And I'll have to admit that there are some times where I got pretty close to worrying about the future, but God always came through. And that's a reoccurring story that I tell on this podcast about God's provision. And I'm sharing it because if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. And we're living in times where things can feel really scarce. You know, jobs can feel scarce, good housing can feel scarce, good friendships can feel scarce. But with God, His supply is unlimited. So I'll give one example. Right before I started my brand new job last year, I actually did not have an office wardrobe. And to be honest, I didn't really have the time or a whole incredible amount of finances to go get myself a full-on wardrobe of office clothing. I come from Southern California where I don't really have to wear office clothing. You know, in California, I was really used to just dressing very casually, my shorts, my sandals, whatnot. And when I packed and moved to Singapore, I packed super light. So, you know, I just didn't really have a whole lot of luggage space to bring some of my more formal clothes. So the weekend before I start my new job, I look through my closet and I go, I probably only have enough outfits to last me about a week. So I just remember thinking, okay, I'm probably going to have to mix and match a lot of things. And hopefully people don't notice that I'm wearing a lot of repeated outfits until, you know, I have the time and the extra finances to go get myself a new wardrobe. And you know what? I didn't even really worry about it. I just said, you know what, God, you know what I need and you know how to supply. Well, 2 days before actually, not even 2 days. It was literally the afternoon before my first day of work that my god sister, she calls me and tells me that she has a whole bunch of clothing that she'd like to give away. And she had in mind to give it to a couple other people, but apparently they all couldn't make it to her house. And so she's like, Jasmine, if you come over, it's all yours. Now I'm thinking, okay, my god sis, she's pretty petite. She has a clothing size that's probably smaller than mine. I don't know how I'm going to fit, but okay, I'll go over. And I go over to her house, and every single one of her clothings fit me. And it was beautiful. I mean, these were pieces of clothing that I would have never gotten on my own, and I probably would have never afforded those clothings either. And I was so moved. And this is also something really funny. I personally love wearing dresses. Why? I think it's so easy. You don't have to think about matching your top and bottom. You can just pick out one thing in the morning, put it on, and go. And I think about 95% of what she gave me were all one-piece dresses. It's as if God absolutely read my mind. So I believe in a God who is personal. I mean, down to the detail. He knew exactly what I needed. Now, when it comes to housing in Singapore, my mom and I had at one time lived with my grandmother. And then at another time, we moved in with a friend. And finally, we found our own place. And that was truly another miracle, because we were able to get a whole unit at about 50% less than what we could get outside. And it was brand new, renovated, and truly my dream home. But I wanted to share something. God allowed me to notice something. So when we were living with my grandmother, we were living on the 7th floor. Then when we moved into our second home, it was the 15th floor. Now we're living on the 31st floor. And God told me something. He said, Jasmine, don't you see? Every time you moved, you've doubled up and went one floor further. So 7 times 2 is 15. 15 times, I'm so sorry. Wow, my math. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15, right? So we moved into the 15th floor. 15 times 2 is 30 plus 1 is the 31st floor. And I was like, And God just told me, Jasmine, this isn't a coincidence. I'm showing you that when you trust me, I'm always bringing you to a higher place that's twice as good as your last option. And honestly, I never thought that our housing situation could get any better, but it always has. So what is my point? My point is that God cares about everything, from the clothes that you wear to the house that you live in. Some people tend to over-spiritualize things and think that God only cares about how much you pray, or he only cares about what spiritual gift you're seeking after. I mean, those things are good too, and they are very important. But he cares about your life, your day-to-day living. And when you involve him by talking to him about what you need, he actually already knows. In life, there are going to be needs. There are going to be times where it just seems like you don't have enough. But can I encourage you to take courage by meditating on these 2 verses? I'd love to share them with you. They're from Luke chapter 12, verses 24 to 25. Jesus says, "Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap. They have no storehouse or barn, and yet God feeds them. How much more valuable are you than the birds? And which of you, by worrying, can add 1 hour to his lifespan?" That is so true. If God can take care of the birds, he can definitely take care of you, and he wants to take care of you. He doesn't want you to worry, because worrying doesn't do anything. It doesn't add years to your life. He wants you to rest. He wants you to believe him and take him at his word. I pray that you experience a miraculous supply for whatever need it is that you're facing. It can be for clothing, it can be for a job, it can even be for friendships. If God has helped me so much, I know that it's totally possible for you too. Take care and have an amazing day.